Hello, welcome back to Fist Entertainment. Let me adjust this real quick. And yes, I took my suit jacket off. Happens every now and then. Well, let's go right into it. This is my review for January 2012's release of Underworld Awakening 3D. Well, this is not my, I don't know. Actually, kind of is weird with these films. I'm not sure what exactly my favorite one out of them actually is. I'm about to say is probably, might be this one actually. Now that I think about it, it's probably this one. It's either Underworld Awakening or Blood Wars, one of those two. And it's not because I saw them in theaters originally. It's because I just thought that they got the formula so well in the last two Underworld films versus the first three. The first three were kind of all over the place, figuring out what the formula of these films are. While with Awakening and Blood Wars, they kind of got it down pretty good. So, let's go into the plot of the film. And then more on to my opinion a little bit later. It doesn't tell you how long, but my best guess would be somewhere in the proximity of 10 to 20 years after the events of Underworld Evolution. The Earth, the world has found out that vampires and werewolves exist, and humanity has waged war on pretty much the Underworld. Vampires and werewolves have been eradicated to the brink of extinction. And well, trying to get away on a harbor, on a port. Celine and Michael are kind of stopped. And I'm guessing a few months later, Celine wakes up in a laboratory, frozen, in an expended animation, and she awakens somehow. She escapes. We found that their name for her is Subject 1, and then she hears that somebody named Subject 2 has escaped. And she has a telepathic link. She finds out that why she has a telepathic link is because Subject 2 is her daughter. Her, Michael's daughter. So her daughter's a hybrid, just like Michael. Vampire and werewolf. And a young vampire, which is his name, played by Theo James from the Divergent films, comes to their aid and brings them to his covenant. Where we find that remaining vampires have taken refuge in a covenant underground. And they get attacked by super werewolves. That's what I'm calling them, but they're genetically altered werewolves that have had the DNA of hybrid sort of DNA taken from Michael, obviously, because he did capture Michael as well. So stronger, more deadlier, more powerful than a regular Lycan werewolf. And the coven gets under attack by these super werewolves. Theo James' character obviously dies, trying to protect a kid. The kid gets abducted by these scientists. We now know at this point in the film are not scientists at all, but they're actually hybrid werewolves themselves. They're trying to find a way to make themselves even more powerful. And they think that Celine and Michael's child is the key. And Celine brings Theo James' character back to life and basically she goes after to rescue her daughter. Tries to release Michael from captivity, which he does succeed in doing, but he disappears. There's a very big battle between her and the very powerful hybrid werewolf, and it's pretty spectacular. She actually wins by actually outthinking this werewolf by putting a explosive device within the center of his body, full of silver nitrate, that blows up. And of course, his tap line is, "I instantly adapt." And she's like, "That's what I'm counting on." Because he instantly adapts, of course, he blows up. Silver nitrate kills him. And then she discovers that Michael has disappeared. And it's her and her daughter wondering where Michael went. And that's pretty much the end of the film. Alright, well, why do I like this one so much? I like this one so much because the action is very, very good. The story I thought was more concrete than the first three. More interesting, I'd say. I also like the fact that they have a lot of good actors in this movie. Like Charles Day, for example. Always been a fan of since I saw him on Last Action Hero in Alien 3. But, yeah, it's just a better movie, in my opinion. And the 3D in this film, the 3D in this film is pretty unique, actually. It's a combination between real 3D and digital 3D, which means that there's some 3D effects of the film that stay within the screen image, and then effects that come out of the screen image. And please excuse me, I'm actually doing my own personal screening of the uncut version of Psycho in 4K while reviewing this. Pretty good, I might add. Get that box set, it's worth it. Alright, the picture quality of the film. Still keeping to kind of what we are familiar with the Underworld films. This film has a very cool, almost winterized blue cinematography to the film that kind of makes it more of like a cool element looking color palette on the film. But this one does have some neutrals in it, and it balances itself out pretty good. But that's typical for Underworld film. It's going to be more like a cool white, bluish looking movie, because that's why all these films look. I think the one that I think goes further from that than any of the other films is probably Underworld: Rise of the Lycans, which had a little bit of maybe a little bit of a green over the blue, I would say. The audio. This is the first film in the Underworld series that actually has a 7.1 audio presentation, and that definitely played very well into the immersive overhead effects of the film with this conversion to DTS-X neutral audio on my sound system. There was a lot of very dramatic effects. There's a little key to that. If you're going to have a Dolby Atmos and DTS-X theater, you actually want to angle the overhead speakers to where they're pointing at you slightly in like a little degree angle. So instead of pointing exactly at you, you kind of want them to kind of be like that at you. By doing that, it allows it to bounce off of walls a little bit better, and the floor, and so on, to make it just have much more of an immersive experience, which is what you would expect from something like that. And this film definitely does not disappoint, and the sound presentation is very, very good. Very dramatic. Lots of bass reflex, and Subwoofer does a lot of good stuff as well. Dialogue's obviously good, but of course, dialogue's always going to be good if you know what you're doing when it comes to setting up a sound system. It's only bad when you don't know what you're doing. And that goes for really any movie. Alright, well, all I could say is I definitely enjoyed watching this movie. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review. But before I actually do call it quits on this review, because I have one of them in the player right now, but something I will do just because I'm just cool and fun and this is awesome. This is the new 4K Alfred Hitchcock Classics Collection in 4K. This is a good box set. I definitely enjoyed it. We're on the last film right now, which is not The Birds. I know it's the last film in the set, but I saved Psycho for last. Definitely been enjoying time off from work. I'm on a 2 weeks vacation right now. Just don't want to tell certain people because I knew that they would try to take advantage. I just want to just relax and have fun. Because some people that I actually do know are actually on here. But that's a little look at it. We'll see you guys next time for my next review. Until then.